And here we are at the section where we can talk about the contribution that the diaspora has made to Armenian literature and printmaking.
Absolutely, and also what we had to do in the exhibit is to show the breadth of the diaspora. And one of the simplest ways to do that was a limited selection of the oratsvits from the church from around the world in the 19th and early 20th century. We have hundreds of these, but I chose them from Theodosia, Ukraine, Yerevan, Tiflis, and Constantinople, just to give an idea that wherever Armenians went, they took their press. Down here, we have an alphabeticum, basically a textbook of the Armenian alphabet for children done in Moscow in 1852 by Raphael Patkanian. This is the ethnographic journal from Shushi that was published between 1900 and 1911.
What kind of contribution do you think Armenian literature or printmaking has brought to a wider world of literature?
Well, and it's very interesting that it's hidden. The contributions are hidden. Obviously, Armenian scholarship is of great importance to people who know Armenian. It could be of greater importance to people who don't if it were made accessible, and that's what a full generation of two through this, and also people here, Nina Garsoyan, Robert Thompson, Richard Hovhannisyan in Europe have been working for decades, and myself included, with medieval histories, translating these histories, providing commentaries to these histories, and you see now that scholars in ancillary disciplines are actually paying more attention to the Armenian sources than they used to. Another thing is we had a case dedicated to Armenian translations in medieval times. For instance, Eusebius of Caesarea's 4th century chronicle, the first of the great church historians. The most complete version is the Armenian.
It's quite remarkable if you think
exactly,
about it.
It is. So I mean, a lot of it, that's what I mean about a lot of it is hidden. It's there if we actually make it manifest. This is a very important case to show that the era of manuscripts actually did not die in the era of printing began. These are manuscripts that range from the middle of the 18th century through the 19th century. For instance, a Kanon Nagir Kayots from 1801, a book of palmistry from 1894, but this spectacular book, this manuscript from 1755, excuse me, was dedicated to the Acts of St. John the Evangelist. But its importance is that it was once in the possession of Ruben Mamoulian. But then we move from here into the American diaspora. And from 1913, we have the America Haidare Tzwitsa from Boston, and 1959 publication by Vahe Haik from New York on Harpert. And you see stonemasons and carpenters from Harpert here.
Here we are obviously approaching the beginning of Soviet era.
We are actually approaching the 3 republics of the 20th century. From the First Republic, that short-lived republic from 1918 to 1920, we have the first printed administrative map of Yerevan, which was done in November of 1920, obviously a matter of a week or two before the fall of the First Republic. Here is a satiric journal from 1955, Vozny, and if you see there are tractors on top, and it says, you know, the quality of the renovation of tractors according to official reports. And here you see a dilapidated tractor with a lantern, a broken lantern, or an umbrella, and it says in actuality. And I think more particular is this wonderful 1961 publication of Sasvansi David, which is still the epic, the classic work of it. And from here, we go to your present republic with a book on the paintings of the man known as Ivan Ivazovsky. The reason I chose this is I wanted to show that in 2010, publication actually had reached a high level again. The painting I chose was Lord Byron arriving at the monastery of San Lazzaro to study Armenian, so it fit in with the theme. But the third reason that I wanted to show this was to show that Ivazovsky was actually Hovhannes Ayvazyan, and is not Russian, despite what is being claimed. If you remember, one of our cases had a Soviet publication of Hovhannes Tumanyan's poem Anush, beautiful, and then the piano vocal score of Armin Tigranian's opera, and the record cover of Goha Gasparian's recording of Anush. So we decided to actually go multimedia, and if you come over here, you'll notice that you are listening to Ampitakits from that wonderful classic recording of Anush, and people do stand here listening.
Yes, because I think it's such an interesting addition to everything that we've seen, in a musical form, has a wonderful sense of continuation, cultural continuation.
And it is literary.
It is literary.
It is.
It's
a sound literary, if you will. So with that, also, if you remember, in another case, we dedicated it to the liturgy, and indeed, everyone thinks that Yekmalian and Gomidas were the first to actually transcribe the Armenian Mass into European notations, but we have a manuscript by Pietro Bianchini, who is the chorus master of San Lazzaro, who was actually the first person to transcribe and publish the Armenian Mass in European notations. So we wanted something from the Mass, and even though his version has not been recorded, we did do the Surp, the Sanctus, from the Gomidas version of the map, as recorded by the Diocese of the Armenian Church in New York in 1970 on Gomidas' centennial. So we have the religious and the profane for people to listen to.
Obviously, we want as many people as possible, Armenians or non-Armenians for that matter of fact, to have an access to this exhibition. And if they unfortunately weren't able to travel to Washington or didn't see this magnificent exhibition in person, maybe you can tell us in a few words, how can they see it online, or what are the possibilities?
The exhibit is online at the Library of Congress website, lcweb.loc.gov, the entire exhibit with captions. Also, the Digital Initiatives Office of the Library of Congress will be digitizing all public domain manuscripts and materials, and they will be mounted on our catalog, but also in the World Digital Library. So many of these things will be freely accessible to the public at large around the world. The hallmark of the Library of Congress is that we are here to be used.
Yes.
And access is the key.
Thank you for this magnificent conversation and for walking through this incredible exhibition. I'm honored to be here. I feel proud to be Armenian. I feel proud of my heritage. And thanks to your effort and incredible stuff of this magnificent institution, this has become possible.
You are too kind. May I say that it has been really an honor for me to do this. I believe strongly that I have done this and work on the Armenian collection for my ancestors. Their faces are always in front of me, not for the present, but for future generations. And to know that all Armenians, wherever they are the results of the works of these people who produced the manuscripts and the books, and they belong to all of us in general.